And welcome, viewers, to a new series that is on organ repair. And by organ, I do not mean organs, but rather organs. Hopefully this is one of many videos, and that's it. Let's get started. Tools for this job include the following: a roll of paper towels, generally pretty obtainable. Needle nose pliers, nothing fancy. A more specialized tool, but still relatively common, is this small pick, probably right there, that's in focus. Slightly more difficult, or probably you don't have, is grease. Now, I like to use this stuff. It's called Super Lube, and I find it to be highly effective for what we're doing. It's a synthetic type grease. I also like to have a small syringe with a plastic tip for inserting the grease, as this is much too large a container to be practical in greasing the Keybed. So I recommend when you buy this, also buying this with it, and they come filled with this stuff, and you're going to need quite a bit. Now, I highly recommend a small container with a lid for the storage of springs. A bright headlamp is incredibly helpful, and a rather hefty vacuum here with this attachment. It's kind of like a furry little, I don't know, it's furry, and you kind of just like, works real well. And garbage can is good. And you disassemble the organ, you need a small socket, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, this is going to be a closer look at those tools we just examined from afar. Again, we have needle nose pliers. These only purpose is just to grab something. Any old needle nose pliers will work. They could even be big pliers if you wanted to. Next, let's do paper towels. Yep. We got our pick. Here's a better look at that, hopefully. I would almost recommend a flat, like a straight type of deal here, but this works just fine. And here are our greases. And these, again, I use synthetic grease. I think it probably lasts longer, and this stuff works real well. Super Lube. I highly recommend getting a small applicator. And let's take a look at the vacuum item here. So here it is. It's got these little like hairs going on right here. See that? And so what that allows us to do is just take our fragile circuitry and just, you know, get it out of there without mangling it. And that is highly effective. Okay, this is going to be the procedure for opening the organ. Now this should apply to most of these organs that I've worked with. So first we just kind of, this is a Thomas Symphony Royale 782, and I'm not, is it a romantic name? Is it excessive? Is it wonderful? I'm not sure. You're going to have to come up with that yourself. I like it. It's very long though. So now opening the lid, just boom, and you're in. Second level is held in place by these brackets. You're just going to unscrew a couple little, like, I think they have a nut kind of deal on them, a bolt. Here's the top manual. Now I have already done this top one to perfect my technique here, and to the best of my ability. It was fully successful with the exception that these two keys are a little sticky. Second to last and third to last on the bottom. Now, I don't see any situation in which I will need to play those with any quickness. I mean, no, it's, you know, you're just do, 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 do. So, we're going to move on, and I will show you the bottom manual here. Now, for this, again, this was probably held in by some screws that I removed, and you take your little kickstand here, and rather not securely prop this very heavy thing over your hands. And so now that we're into the organ, let's relocate. No worries, just relocate. Okay, now that we're inside the organ here, we're gonna go ahead and take some keys off. I'm going to don my headlamp because this is the perfect situation to use said lamp. And turn it on. So, you have your basic keys here. Okay, what happens? You press down on the key, and it touches this thin metal, it's almost like the pin on a capacitor or something. It's soldered in here, and it's touching the bottom now, and you pull it up to touch the top. Pretty basic, and I haven't quite figured out the circuitry, how it does sound, but it does. Now, this spring is kept in place by this little tab here, and we need to bend that out of the way first, and let me get my needle nose pliers. Perhaps the best needle nose pliers to use would be one with non-toothed, just very flat, smooth surfaces, but I don't have any of those. And so what we need to do is be careful when we're bending these out of the way to not mangle it. So we're going to try to do it in as few motions as possible. And so I'm just going to bend. And see, I made a mistake there. Get it straight, upright. And let's do that for a few of them. And interestingly, not every single one needs this done. I don't know what process they went through to do it to some and not others. So we'll just do it to this F key here and then speed it up for you. I don't know why they did this. In fact, when they put these together, I actually recommend you don't fasten those because it'll save somebody a whole lot of time in the future. So our next step, we're going to take our pick and you're going to look under here. And you can see there's a spring. And it's on a hook. There's like a little peg and it comes down like that from our metal. And so what we're going to do, take our pick and just unhook that spring, okay? And put your finger on the top of the spring so it doesn't fly away. And we got it. Now we're going to pull it off and put it in our spring containment unit here. And that should be safe and sound. And now, what we can do, it's going to be an interesting motion here. First we lift up, and it shouldn't take too much force, but it might take a little. Okay? This one is not quite ready to come up yet. Let's investigate. You know, I think brute force might be the solution to this problem. There we go, and we got it. I don't know what that was. Oh, I know what that was. So this actually came off as well. Ignore that. So now we have our first key off, and you'll notice on the bottom of the keys, it's a C, okay? And so I'm going to set this to the side for now until we get to this F. This one was a little enthused and came out willingly without me touching it. And you're going to be careful not to try to mangle these too badly. And I'll show you how they come in to play here. If we can get that off. There we go. This key's free. Hello viewers, I am back. I'm going to go over here with the keys off how this works with these little springy deals. So, and over here we have a double decker, but the principle is the same. You have these holes in here, and they're literally just holes. There's nothing fancy. And so all we're going to do is slide it on there, like that. And it's good. And so to put a key on, what we have to do is this motion. You slide it in there, and then you set it down on the thing, the little rubber pad up here. And then it's going to fall, you're going to pull it towards you until it falls down, then push it forward and down onto that thing. And the key's on. And obviously the spring's not on, but the key is. So that's how that goes. Alright. Now once we arrive at the black keys, it becomes more challenging because you'll notice this key is not extreme, but you can't actually get the black key out with the white key in the way. So we have to unhook two. So first we'll get this black guy. And you'll notice the springs are different and they're color-coded. The golden springs go to the black keys. Do that. And then get our second one. I'm going to have to block your view here for a second to get my large arms in here. Boy, that's really kind of a hard one to see. There we go. I'm just going to unhook it. Got it. And you can actually just push it off with that, like this, if you want to. Now that we've got both of them, you're going to go up, and then you're going to slide out, and it should just lift out of there. Same with the black ones. Up, with some finesse, out, and it slides off. And let's keep going. Do 2 here at once. Alright. Got these 2. Lift up, out, got it. Up, out, got it. Let's do the last 2 here. And in fact, that is all it takes to get the keys off. And that's basically as hard as it gets. It's an easy job, if a little repetitive, being that you have to do it 61 times. And then one like this gives you problems and doesn't want to come out. And I found that that's probably because of the serrated grip on the needle nose, and sometimes you just gotta tear it on out. Squeeze. And we got it. This one, there we go. So we can see we're gonna have to come in here with the vacuum, and let's now move to the key placing region here. Okay, we have arrived in this remote corner of the room out of the way. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my keys and I'm going to line them up upside down in order, because each one has this little weight on here. I don't think that actually does anything, but just for the sake of going in order here. Flip them upside down, so there's our C, B, B flat, A flat, G, G flat, and F. And just kind of straighten these guys out like that. And now they're organized and out of the way, and we're going to take the entire keyboard off so that we can vacuum it real thorough. And it's just easier, and I'll explain why in a second. Okay, viewers, I'm now going to take off several octaves in high speed. Okay, so our next step is to get the old grease off these little pads so it does not impede our new grease. So I'm going to do that. Alright, now that that's complete, we can burn these paper towels because they are quite soiled. Alright, now we're going to take the vacuum with our fur attachment here and vacuum the keys. Okay, so the approach here is we're just going to suck up all the garbage in here. And don't get too close to these fellas because they're fragile. Okay, our Keybed is now nice and clean. Okay, having successfully degreased the keys, the key bed, I guess, we now are going to degrease each key. And so the way I like to do this, take a square, fold it in half again, and then stick your pick kind of like this. So it makes a little wad. And this doesn't need to be perfect. And we just stick it in here, like that. Maybe do it twice. And that key's done. Now we'll go to the next one. And this is one of the more boring parts of this project. Okay, I'm going to come back here for the last couple of keys when we're degreasing them. So I'm going to get a fresh napkin. I'm going to show you the technique here again. Once we have our little wad here, try to get it as perfect as possible. We take our key, okay, with our pick. This is how I do it. Then place it here on the edge, push it down, and then under this little tab, pull it up, and it's got all the grease that really needs to come out. Again, fresh piece of towel, down, in, out. Next. We go down, in, out. Next. Down, in, out. Do that one again, it was really full. Down, in, out. Down, in, out. Down, in, out, and voila, it'll be done before you know it. Okay, welcome back, viewers. We return to you with a fairly heavy-duty solution of soap and water to clean the keys. Take it. Say hi. Take it. Take it. I know. That's good. How are you feeling today, honey? Are you feeling good? Yeah. Hello and welcome back, viewers. So this is the process of reinstalling our keys. So let's get started. So that's a low C. So we're going to grab our C key, alright? Now, we need to put some grease on it. So we're going to take our grease syringe and turn on the headlamp. There we go. And we're gonna just slob it on here real thick. And just be generous. The last thing you want is to come back because you didn't use enough grease. And I've had to do it several times. And let me tell you, it is not fun. Just really slob it on there, okay? We shouldn't need we should not need any grease in this key if everything goes to plan. So now what we're gonna do, we gotta take our pick right there, and then we gotta get our springs, which are over here. Alright, so we got the springs and the pick. Take our white spring out because it's a white key. Alright, put the hole on the little fella. And we're going to put that down. Pull it forward till it drops downward. Push it back. Push it down onto the key. That is installed. Unfortunately, I always seem to forget that there is a black one that goes here. So I got to take that off part of the way to install our black key. That's not a problem though. Slob on the grease. Real thick. Okay, that should be plenty. Alright, pop it on like that. Now bring it forward. We're on. Now we gotta test how flexible we are here. That's perfect. Okay, you don't want to really feel any resistance. Let's throw this guy back on here. Alright, so this one needs a little more grease. So what we're gonna do, and you really just got it, you don't want any resistance, really. I mean, as free and loose as you can get it. So what I did is I threw it. It actually, the rubber pad goes under this clip, so that's where you want to focus your grease. Okay, so we just put it on, like that. Now after that, that's as good as it's going to get, and so we leave it, even if it is not perfect. Okay, so we got to get a white spring, and a brown spring, or gold spring. And I'm doing this from the left to the right because I'm right-handed. Right. And then we stick it on there. And the same principles. That's strange. Alright, in fact, my friends, we have made a mistake. So for these ones, what we need to look, the little fellas are real bent down unnaturally. They're going to want to come straight out. And so I'm going to guess that they're actually supposed to be in the middle hole here. And that I wasn't paying close enough attention when we assembled the unit. So let's try it with our black key here. Re-grease. Okay. Let's try the middle hole. I think that's going to do much better for us. And there we go. Just how it's supposed to be. I gotta get some more grease. Alright, that should have gotten her. Now let's throw our plunger back in. Oh yeah, it's ready. We gotta clean up our mess here. This was really a terrible example. But the concept is the same, okay? We're just gonna cover the little pad with grease, and if that's unsuccessful, as it often is, not often, occasionally is, you're gonna grease the inner part of the key under the pad as well. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh wait, we're doing middle. Almost like too greasy in there. Alright, now let's try putting some springs in there. Alright, hook our springs onto their designated pegs. And remember, you got to do most of the keys in a set of 2. Because otherwise you can't get the black keys on. And this will come with time. It's initially very difficult, but it gets better. Alright, let's do time lapse. Okay. Now that we have arrived at the double-decker section, we're just going to do the same thing, only double-decker with the top 2 holes, alright? So with this one, top 2 holes, okay? So we slide them in. And it is marginally more difficult, but really not a big deal. Okay.
If you're not using this, honey, I want the lens cap on.
I'm using it!
You're recording right now?
Yes!
Oh, sorry.
Gosh. Okay, viewers, it is now time to test and adjust here. So let's fire her up. So it's not working perfectly, but it does still produce enough sound in here to test. So what we need to do now first is make sure every note is making contact for the flute sound, like making the note. And then we gotta deal with these double deckers. Alright, so this one's not. And so what you're gonna do, you take your needle nose pliers and you hold the middle. And with the pick in the back towards the board, you push down. Okay, it'll make a kink. And it should start working, although that was not as successful as we had been hoping for. There we go. Sometimes you really gotta tweak them. This one needs tweaking. Okay, that's working now. This one needs tweaking. Alright, now we're going to check the top ones on the double decker. And to do that, I'm going to turn on some drums, but turn the drum part off, and then turn on harpsichord and fancy fingers. So now, yeah, we're going to get that sound, which I guess you could describe as very nice. I find it to be a little... And if it makes it, we know it's working correctly. Needs a little tweaking. Alright, well I say that's good. Let's see what it can, if it can make some rudimentary song here. electrical adjustments, because if we play more than 2 notes, it fades. It just doesn't sound very good, but sounds good. Edit goes on. So definitely not perfect, but usable. And we gotta make some electrical adjustments. I have a service manual on the way, so we should be able to do that soon. I bid you farewell and a good night.